In this video, I'm going to share my competition experience with my self-prepping. I coach myself to the bodybuilding stage in the new Fit Model division. I want to share my judges' feedback from my show, what I did right, what I did wrong, what my experience was self-coaching, answer the question if you should self-coach or if you need to hire a coach for your own goals, and let's jump into it. All right. Hi, I really want to speak from my truth and my experience in bodybuilding, physique, competition, and all of the things around that. So I did write a very detailed outline, but I'm going to try not to look at my phone because you deserve better than that. The last time I shared a video, I spoke about my experience self-prepping to the stage. I kind of titled that phase the self-prep project. It's really uncommon in the bodybuilding space and in the physique competition space, even the modeling space, for people to document and share their self-preparation. It's very, very common to have a coach. I was the only person at my show that I was aware of that had self-coached. But here's the thing. I did not bring my best, most competitive physique. I have to be honest, I was proud of how I looked at the gym leading up to the competition. I was proud of the progress I was able to make, especially after the hurdles I faced in the spring. I got sick twice. I had a really difficult personal situation I was dealing with, and I'm not a quitter, and I usually face things with grit in my teeth until the very end. But there was a point 3 weeks out that I was really considering dropping out. There was a financial risk to doing that because when you sign up for a show, have to put all these deposits down, and I would be losing all of that if I dropped out. But at the same time, I just didn't want to step on stage not feeling proud of what I was bringing. This is a serious sport at the end of the day, and I didn't want to just show up for the sake of showing up. But with a few people in my corner encouraging me to continue, I decided to go through with the show, and I did it. And it was a mixed bag of emotions. I spoke to the Fit Model division criteria in one of my earlier training videos where I go through how I developed my training plan. The criteria was not as lean as the Bikini Division, but they were still looking for a level of conditioning. The timing of this video is good because I just got the head judge's critique of my whole routine, and she's an IFBB pro judge. She has judged competitions all over the world, so I was really grateful to have had her as the head judge for this show. So she said my presentation was really good, my stage presence was much better, my overall look works for the Fit Model criteria. The only thing that she said I really need to work on is conditioning, aka I wasn't lean enough, but I was close. So I think if I had given more time, maybe between 3 and 6 weeks of keeping the same momentum I had in the last few weeks leading up to my show, I think I could have brought a dramatically more competitive physique.
You have a good foundation here to work from that I can see. I like your overall look. I like how you're executing your poses. You're holding your posture nice. You've got good width on your stance. And I would like to see you again up there in the Fit Model division because I think you're a good representative of this category.
So the main takeaway from me was I didn't need to select a show as early as I did. I should have done what the pros do and not select a show until I'm very close. Of course, if I didn't have those setbacks I faced in the spring, I could have been ready, but life happens and I should have given myself more time to bring my best physique. She said my shape is there, so that was really validating to the program I had created for myself. My delts were the right shape, I had enough glute, I had enough hamstring. She said I could have used even a little bit more quad, but that could have popped out more if my body fat was lower in the hip area. So yeah, all that to say, that's my competition experience, and I took away from it that you can't pick a show, you have to let your body do that in a way. But I think it's important to go back to those last few weeks because those last few weeks, the momentum was rolling. Every week I was seeing changes. My weight was going down steadily, but my energy was still doing okay. You want to be able to see progress while also feeling adequate in terms of your energy and lifestyle balance. So I definitely just needed more time. I want to talk about what worked in my self-prep journey and what didn't so that you can take that away. Let's start with what worked. What worked was starting slow. So I knew earlier on in the season that I didn't want to crash into the show. I wanted to start out at the highest possible calories and lowest amount of cardio possible and I was there. I started in a high enough position that when I got close to show, my body was responding really easily and really well to the deficit I had created. Whereas if you start a dieting phase and you're already in a deficit, or you just kind of go from lifestyle mode to I'm gonna do a cut, your body will stop responding. But for me, it was responding really well because I had set it up to do that. The other thing I did well is the documentation, I think. So of course, at the beginning, I had this like perfect template I wanted to follow, but that quickly got thrown out the window, and I just changed the way that I was tracking things. So I used an app called Macro Factor, and I started to log everything I was eating so that I could export that data for myself if I decided to coach in the future. So that was really helpful because it gave me a record of everything. I am not recommending a specific app over another, but being able to like have the data to export was really helpful. The other thing that worked well, I think, was staying connected with people. So I did hire a posing coach to help me with my posing at the end to just better improve my stage presence and the showcasing of my physique. And so just having someone there, someone who's in the industry, being able to encourage me and comment on my posing was really helpful and made a really good difference in my engagement and interest near the end. Although it was really lonely backstage not having a coach or a team, it really did feel like I was on my own in a way, but I had my partner and a few friends attend the show, and that was really nice. My food choices worked. I had a more balanced approach to this prep. I was much lower in carbs on my last prep back in 2021 and 2022, but I think for the purpose of self-coaching and being able to not blow up after the show and actually continue to make progress in the way that I am now, I think I can attest to having a more balanced approach to the foods I was eating, with an emphasis on whole foods, but not having a black or white mentality, because I didn't want to sacrifice that and hate the sport altogether. Okay, what didn't work? What didn't work was not being ready earlier, because it was a lot more stressful mentally knowing that I was farther away from where I wanted to be in those last few weeks. It definitely put more pressure on me and focus to make a lot of that shedding happen in those last few weeks. But if I was ready sooner, of course, if I didn't have the setbacks I faced, I think that would have been alleviated, but that didn't work. Having to put all of the pressure on the very end and being crunched to the timeline being a show, I think that's something I would change if I did a self-coaching prep again. The other thing that didn't work is the rigidity of the way that I wanted to check in with myself each week. So the nice thing of having a coach is they're waiting for your check-in on a certain day each week. I had no coach waiting for me. I was that person. So having to switch from athlete to coach every weekend was hard. Did it not work? I mean, it did do the job in some ways, but I would say the way that I was checking in with myself didn't really work the way that I expected it to. I really wanted to bring a competitive physique, and I didn't. I wasn't lean enough for this show. And I also want to bring a winning mindset. I think mindset is really important, because when you see competitors hating their lives the last few days leading up to a show, I was chatting with one girl that was on like 900 calories a day, which is really not necessary, especially for this division. Like, really not necessary. Would not recommend that at all. I guess what I'm trying to say is what didn't work is trying to adhere to something that I was setting in place every week and having a bit of that self-doubt in that, or wanting to make changes. I just have to show you my POV right now of Stella on the couch. I also never call her Stella. It's always Chicken or Chicken Cheetah or Bean Bear McGee. All right, back to business. Okay, so what am I doing now? What is the purpose of this channel? And what else would I like you to take away? Well, would I self-coach again? I think so. Surprisingly, it wasn't the self-coaching that was so hard. It was a bit of the loneliness in doing it on my own. So I think I would do a better job of staying connected or sharing more, interacting more if I did it again. The other thing is I've decided to hire a coach for my off season leading up to a show, likely not until 2026. I don't need to build more muscle per se, I just have to enhance my current shape and keep muscle density a bit better, so that way when I do drop more body fat, it's a little bit easier to maintain. Let me know if you want me to answer questions on why that is or go into any specifics. I know some of you reach out to me on Instagram, which I love, but if you have any questions on anything I've spoken about, I'm happy to go into more detail. Just comment it below in the video instead of DMing me, because it'll just be better to help me get this video out to more people. So I'm working with Team Fit Body Fusion right now. I am looking forward to being more coachable now that I've been on my own for so long. So is it impossible to self-prep successfully? No. And I'd still support the argument that you don't need a coach if you don't want it. But you do have to consider the other life variables that make coaching beneficial. It's a lot easier to hand something off to someone else if you have the resources and interest to do so, and you can kind of focus on the other things. For me, I had a good chunk of my mental bandwidth allocated to making sure I was overseeing my program correctly, which was, you know, a job in and of itself. Okay. I have some exciting projects I'm working on. I'm working up to line up an interview with an IFBB pro who will not be named yet. Her experience is really fantastic. She's beyond the traditional athlete following a coach's direction. She has a podcast herself. She's done a lot of research and has made a lot of progress herself in the world of binge eating, which I find people really curious about. I've spoken about it a little bit as well, and how you can make any lifestyle or bodybuilding transformation in your physique while also having suffered with overeating, emotional eating, feelings of low self-esteem. Like, a lot of that's connected, and I'm very happy to share more information on that. So if you have any questions for said IFBB pro, please let me know and I'll make sure to incorporate that into our outline. I have reinstated the Well-Rounded with Yasy podcast on Spotify. It's the podcast I filmed 10 episodes of in 2023 after my last competition round, and I was in lifestyle mode, and it's kind of a good summary of what I talk about on this channel. So please go have a listen. Let me know if you have any questions or follow-up requests, and I will record them either in this interview podcast episode or on its own. I'm gonna leave it here. In summary, I am working with a coach. I am excited to see how coaching myself will impact my ability, efficacy, and maybe autonomy in having a coach, and that relationship with a coach might be a bit different. And I will continue to share things on Instagram. On a personal note, I am not sure when I want to reopen my coaching roster again. I do have a wait list in the base of this video. I would love to know more about you so that I know how to help you. So feel free to fill that in and I will take a look right away when I get it. All of the other information is in the video description below. I look forward to hearing from you. Please share this with someone who's interested in bodybuilding or wants to take a healthier approach to physique transformation. Okay, bye.